Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining me today. Hello, everybody. It's so great to see you. I have my warm tea. It is warmer today, but I'm still a little chilly in here. Hi, everybody. I have my wrinkly flannel shirt on. I didn't realize how wrinkly this was. Hi, everybody. So great to see you. Y'all come on in. I'm going to wait a few minutes before we get started, because I know it takes a minute for everyone to get notified that we're live. Itching my ear. Hi, everybody. Matthews, let's see. I don't know if you know where Williamsburg, Virginia is. That's where we lived before moving here to Matthews. So we're about the same, like, if you know where Williamsburg is, we're close to that. We're right on the water. Hi, everybody. It's so great to see you. Before we get started today, I wanted to say thank you to Brenda over at Conquering Mount Scrapmore. A couple videos ago, she gave me a shout out, and I just wanted to say thank you so much. And if y'all have not seen Brenda's channel, I did link it down in the description box below. She had several people come over and comment that Brenda had said hello. So I just wanted to say hi to Brenda. Thank you so much for doing that. It does look different. Okay, so y'all see, I've given up on the idea of making a great big quilt for behind me. We're going to talk more about that here in a little bit. Today's hot news, though, is mystery quilts. And we're going to talk about that first, and then we're going to do some chit-chat stuff. And I have a little chicken update for you, something exciting in the chicken world here at our house, and a few pictures of some stuff I've canned. So we're going to talk about the mystery quilt first, because that might be why you're here. And then we're just going to chit-chat for a little bit. Hi, everybody. Anitra, you're so funny. Y'all, I hate doing laundry, and this shirt probably sat in my hamper about 4 days before being put back in the closet. Can you tell? That's so funny. It is so great to see y'all. One other thing I wanted to say before we get started today. Y'all, I have been seeing all of your heart trivets over on Facebook on the Creative Crew. Y'all are doing so good. I love seeing all of your little trivets. I love the fabrics you're using. Was it today or yesterday? I saw somebody did a Mardi Gras themed heart trivet. That was so cool. Keep sharing your stuff. We love to see it. And on the note of that paper pieced heart trivet, what did you think about the paper piecing? And I'm hoping your answer is, I loved it. Because when we talk about the mystery quilt, we're going to be talking about paper piecing. Becky said, wrinkly flannel shirt equals comfy. Yes. Yeah, it does. It is pretty comfortable. So, the mystery quilt, y'all. I have a little slideshow. I have a couple of slideshows and everything. But first we're going to talk about the mystery quilt. And I will be doing an official mystery quilt like introduction video where I'll cover all of this stuff, but probably more details probably next week. Okay? So keep your eyes out for that if you're interested in joining in. Each year I try to do like a mystery quilt. Well, this is going to be the first one of this kind, and I'm not going to give out any details about what the quilt's going to look like. Usually my mystery quilts involve applique. There is not a lick of applique on this quilt at all. None. And so this is going to be a little bit outside of my wheelhouse, right, when it comes to mystery quilts. But I've been working on this design. I went through like 12 different versions of this quilt until I got this, the one we're making, and I am so stoked about it. I really am. I'm really excited to get started. Robin says, I still have to finish last year's mystery quilt. Robin, that quilt is a top for me. I have not quilted that yet. I have about 6 quilt tops that I just need to buckle down and get quilted. Mary asked about sundaystars@gmail.com. All right, we're going to get there. But the name of this mystery quilt is Sunday Stars. Not like Sunday, the day of the week. Sunday as in ice cream sundae. But I only really named it that because the colors that I have chosen remind me of a strawberry and chocolate ice cream sundae. I'm going to show you my colors that I chose here in just a second. The quilt does not look like ice cream. It does not look like a dessert. It looks like stars. Okay, so keep that in mind. That's why I named it Sunday Stars. Sunday because of the colors that I chose. You don't have to pick these colors. We'll talk more about that as we go along. But the colors that I chose remind me of a strawberry and chocolate sundae. Mickey, this quilt, did I write down the dimensions? Is like a twin size quilt. Okay, and unfortunately I have not upscaled or downscaled the clues to make it smaller or to make it bigger. If you wanted to make this quilt bigger than a twin, you could certainly increase the size of your borders, right? That would easily give you a queen size quilt. But I have not done the configurations and the math to make it any smaller. And I'll give official dimensions of the quilt in the introduction video next week. Okay, so let's see. Did you like paper piecing? Paper piecing is the method that we're using to make each one of the clues of Sunday Stars. Now, I know some of you are going to be like, oh, forget that quilt already. Instantly, no. But I'm hoping to break it down in a way that makes it fun and makes it simple. So if you've been confused by paper piecing in the past, y'all, each week I'm going to break down the clues and walk you through how to make it, the clue, right? And I'm hoping that if you've been on the fence about paper piecing, or it's been something that's been really confusing for you in the past, that you give this a try. Y'all, this is going to be a long project. Y'all know I am so busy, and I see all of y'all's posts. Y'all are extremely busy as well. So the last thing we need is to be bombarded with lots and lots of work to do each week to make this quilt. So we are stretching this out. It's going to be a free project as long as we're making the quilt, right? I have 21 clues that make up this quilt. That's because I wanted to break it down into lots of different sections so that it's not super overwhelming each week, right? Because I have lots of work to do, and in my free time, we have lots of stuff to do, right? So I didn't want it to be so overwhelming each week that it would be something that you start, but then you give up on, right? But I also, here was my dilemma, I also didn't want to like stretch it out so far that you'll lose interest either. So each week, I'm going to reveal the quilt as we go along. I'm going to show you how to make the pieces, and I'm going to show you where the pieces fit in the quilt. So as we're making this quilt, we're going to be revealing the look of the quilt. Right? Does that sound fun? Donna said you made paper piecing so easy to understand. Yay! Diana says I'm out, but I'll watch and enjoy yours. Okay, I hope that you do join along and just watch as we make it. Maybe the next mystery quilt would be something that you might be interested in. Allison, I am hoping to do a clue each week. 21 weeks, that's like 5 months plus. I didn't do the math, but I also know that in that span of time, there will be a week or two that I'll have to miss because I know that like in August we travel and some other things, right? So at least 21 weeks, that will make all the clues. And then we're assembling the clues to make the quilt, right? So it'll go beyond that. But yeah, I'm going to break it down into little sections each week. Although some weeks there are quite a few little sections to make, right? But the way I've broken it down, I'm hoping that it's not too overwhelming. I also thought, so not to lose interest in doing the clues each week, right? How fun would it be to do a Zoom meet with the people who are sewing the pieces each week, right? Wouldn't that be fun? That's the reason I made the email address, sundaystars@gmail.com. Not everybody does Facebook or Instagram and all that stuff, right? So I made a email address so that I could collect your email addresses if you want to join the Zoom. And the Zoom will be like once a week. I'm kind of leaning towards a Friday night. Like back in my early 30s, my late 20s, my Friday nights used to look so different. And now I'm looking forward to doing Zooms where I'm sewing quilting pieces on Friday night. But yeah, because not everybody's on the creative crew, not even, not everybody does Facebook. If you're interested and you want to join in the Zoom sewing session, it'll probably be about like an hour or 2 hours. I'm kind of leaning towards Friday night, where we get together as we're sewing the pieces, right? So it's like a dedicated time for sewing on this quilt, because I already know I'm working during the day. At night, we have other stuff going on. If I set aside a certain amount of time, slotted in my week, I know that I can finish the pieces in that time. And how great would it be to have some company, right? We're all working on the pieces together. Christine says, I don't know if I could do it every week. Well, I kind of think that if you missed a week, you'd probably be able to catch up the next week, right? I kind of broke it up so that it wouldn't be too overwhelming if you missed a week. I'm not quite sure, Becky, as to the time, and I'm sure I will hunker down on committing to those details by the time I do the introduction video next week. So, do you want to see the colors that I chose? I think that would be fun to show you. Let me pull up this little slideshow. There we go. Do you see that on the screen? So you don't have to use these colors. And I'm going to say all of this again in the introduction video. You certainly don't have to use these colors, but my quilt top consists of 4 colors. There's like an off-white background color. There is more of a darker rose. It's not really like burgundy red. It's more like a rose color right there at the bottom. And then there's a lighter, more rose color at the top. And then a chocolate brown. 4 colors make up this whole quilt top. That's it. Now you'll see that you'll see the number of patches using each one of these colors is beside that. And then the yardage estimate for how many yards of each one of these colors you need. Now I do think that you could totally go scrappy with this quilt. Absolutely. But for those who are considering purchasing fabric or checking their stash to see if they have enough of a specific color, that is the yardage requirement. I know, Mimsy, the brown has really gotten me. It really has. Cheryl said, do you recommend joining a quilt guild? Yes and no. I mean, I like being real with y'all. I like being totally honest with you. I think if you need social interaction with people who are passionate about the same things you are, then yes, join a guild. If you're an introvert like me and you don't do well in big groups in person, then maybe not. But I do know there are great ways to meet new people, to share something you're passionate about. They do projects for the community and all kinds of stuff. So if you are looking for something to be involved in, I think joining a guild would be something that would be good for you. I am a loner. I'm an introvert, and that's just me. So I might be the wrong person to ask that. Mimsy said, this is a quilt guild. Yeah, you're in a guild. I did get my quilts from Marshall Dry Goods. So these are the colors that I chose. Those are actually the swatches that I chose. Um, there we go. These are actually the names of the fabrics that I bought off of Marshall Dry Goods. Again, I'm going to show you all of this in the introduction and probably make it bigger so that you could really see it. But so my background is called Lewis and Irene Tiny Toenails. The darker of the two red colors is Ginger Lily Andover Fabrics. And the light is also called Ginger Lily from Andover Fabrics. It's just two different tones, right? The brown that I chose was a Quilter's Calicos. And I know it's really tiny small. On the very bottom, the 108 Patriotic Red Stars on Antique background. That's what I chose to do the back of my quilt with. All of it from Marshall Dry Goods. I did, I think my total, but y'all, so the quantity that you see over there, that is me ordering extra, right? Because I'm teaching with the same fabrics, right? And so I always order extra than what you actually need. But you'll see, like, I got 7 yards of the background fabric. You don't need 7 yards. But I did spend a little bit more than I was hoping for, but I kind of splurged on this particular quilt because she's going to be so pretty. MS says, I've never done a Zoom. I don't do social media, but something like this sounds like it would be something I might enjoy. You might. Is there a limited number of people who can be on a Zoom? So I have a paid Zoom account because I do workshops and we do Patreon quilt retreats, and the free Zoom account is like 45 minutes you can meet for. My paid Zoom account is endless number of time, right? And I think it's like up to 120 people, although I seriously doubt I think the most people I've had in a Zoom is 40. And that was on a rare occasion, right? Christine asked if she should avoid large prints. I'm kind of thinking yes. I think a smaller print would lend much better in this particular quilt design. They're going to be smaller pieces, and I think a larger print would cut a lot into the design of the fabric. Debbie, I will be giving you a list of how much you need on each color, and this picture shows that, but in the introduction video I will have a print off so that you can print it off and bring it to the shops with you, or bring it over to your fabric selection that you already have, and you can start pulling from your stash. But I will have a print off for you, but there on the screen is what you need. And keeping in mind that the brown and the darker of the two red colors will be border colors as well. Okay, so that's why there's a little like hashtag there. That's to account for cutting border fabric out of those two colors. Karen, it's going to be a twin size. And in the introduction, because I didn't write it down, in the introduction video, I will have a specific quilt size for you, but think twin size. All right, what else did I have? Oh, okay, so I was researching because we've been doing some paper piecing projects right here on my YouTube channel. And so like last week I was researching what are the best papers to print on for paper piecing that is really easy to tear away when you're done, right? And so I was reading about the vellum and all the different specialty products you can buy, which are really pricey, right? Here's my suggestion. If you want to do this quilt, buy yourself a ream of paper, the cheapest copy paper that you can find. Cheapest. You'll want a ream of it because we're printing all these clues each week. And I think a ream of paper is like $5 or $6, the cheapest one you can find, because that tears the easiest. It's the thinnest and it tears the easiest. So go ahead and start thinking, I need to buy a whole ream of paper for this project, and buy the cheapest copy paper that you can find. Or think about doing the newsprint. That is what I did. That was $12 on Amazon. That's what you see here on the screen. That was $12, 500 sheets. And I got it the other day and I printed on it. One of the feedback things about the newsprint was that some printers have a hard time feeding it through the printer. So before I recommended it to anybody, I got some. It came the other day. I printed a clue on it. I'm going to show you here in just a second. And it went through, I have an Epson EcoTank printer. It's the ET2800. That's the model that I print off all my office stuff with, right? Not sublimation stuff, just an office printer. And that has a tray that you feed the paper from behind. And it went through my printer just fine. No paper jams, no nothing. So I'm like, this is what I'm going to use because it tears so easily. I did a little sample paper piecing unit with it, and it just removed off the back so easily. So that's what I'm going to use. But if you don't want to make the $12 investment, or you think you might have a problem with it feeding through your printer, then I say buy the cheapest copy paper that you can find. The cheapest. Sheila, the email at the bottom of the screen is a special email that I made. If you are planning on doing this mystery quilt, you can send me an email to this email, and I will put your name, I will put your email in a list that I compile to do Zooms. and they will be Zooms specific for this quilt. I have hair sticking up. So we can get together like once a week and sew on the mystery quilt. And that will be what the Zoom is about. Strictly doing the clues each week, right? Of course, Evelyn just said, are you going to stitch on the line or next to the line? I personally, that's why I'm saying buy a ream of paper. I'm going to be stitching on the line because, and I'm going to show you the first clue here in just a second. Each clue is printed with the clue number on it. And there's going to be 21 clues. And so I think if I stitch on the paper, it'll help me stay more organized because each clue will be numbered and I will know these, you know, you could of course do paper piecing the other way, save a lot of paper and no ripping, right? And organize your pieces in like Ziploc bags or something. So yeah, there's multiple ways of doing paper piecing. I personally will be stitching through the paper, but you could do it the other way. And you wouldn't have to buy a whole ream of paper. Right? So yeah, let me just show you. Let me pull this off the screen. Here is the first clue, right? So this is actually printed on the newsprint. It is very, very thin paper. Super duper thin. Each clue will have a 1-inch print box. Let me just show you so that you know if your print settings are right, right? I try to make my stuff so super easy that if you just choose actual size when you're printing, it should print correctly, the exact size you need. But sometimes, you know, everyone's printer is differently, or someone might be printing from a different kind of device. So I did include the 1-inch print box, and you'll see it is exactly 1 inch, right? So I did include that on all of the clues. Clue number 1 will be this, and you will have to join this to this section, right? But that is clue number 1. Now you'll notice it says print 6 copies for a total of 12 units. The PDF is 2 pages. You'll print 6 copies. See why I'm saying you need a ream of paper? And then you'll have 12 units to paper piece for clue number 1. And the clues sort of have colors in them, right? So it's going to help you stay organized. Which fabrics am I working with this week? You have your background and the lighter of the 2 pinks. See that? So that's printed on newsprint, but if you print it on just normal copy paper, that's what it looks like. See the difference? I usually do all of my paper piecing with my normal, just regular copy paper, but this time I think for easy paper removal, I'm going to go with the newsprint. Nope, Miss Sylvia, I'm going to be teaching here on YouTube, and if you want to join the Zoom, like have a dedicated time where you're sewing pieces, then you can join the Zoom and sew your pieces along with me. 4 colors total, Alice. There's a light background color, like a cream color, and then a medium pink color, a darker pink color, and a chocolate brown. That's if you want to go with my colorway. You could change it out. You could do a black background with a light blue and a dark blue, and a purple instead of chocolate brown, right? You could change out the colors. You don't have to use what I'm using. But 4 colors, that's all you need. Faye says, does the ream give a weight? I think 20, I looked that up and I found it kind of confusing. I think 20 weight is the lightest paper here in the States. I could be wrong, but I think that was my understanding of it. So like a 20 weight paper would be your cheapest, thinnest paper that here in the States. And I don't know what that would be like in Europe. I'm so sorry. Just your cheapest copy paper that you can find. And also, each clue will have a set of pre-cutting templates like this. And I like to give a 1/2 inch extra space. I like having the 1/2 inch versus the 1/4 inch extra space when I'm doing my piecing, paper piecing. So like clue number 1, these will be the pieces that you're going to cut from your fabric, right? You would need 24 of these, 24 of these, and 12 of these. So you could go ahead and pre-cut your pieces and then come to the Zoom with your papers all ready to go and just sit with me for like 2 hours and sew, right? So each week you'll have a set of templates for cutting the specific fabrics that you need for the clues, right? Yeah, so each week I will be doing a teaching video, and those videos will be recorded and shortened to the point to get you on your way, right? It'll be long enough that I explain everything, but short enough that I'm not holding you up when you could be sewing or cutting your pieces. Debbie said, is that what I would use for putting on a scan and cut? You could scan this page and then cut a piece of you could scan this page, delete these two, this outside line, keep, this inside line, delete, 24, delete, delete, and just keep the outside line. And then arrange however many would fit on your mat. Cut a piece of fabric, put it on your mat, and cut out 4 or 5, however many fit, right? But I think that would end up wasting more fabric. And instead of the requirements that I tell you you're going to need, I think you would need even more. These, I think you would get more pieces out of your fabric if you just used a ruler and a rotary cutter. But that's just me thinking. If you absolutely want to use your scan and cut, you could scan this and use the outside line to cut your pieces. I know not everybody's, really good with the rotary cutter, and I totally get that. So just keep in mind, you might need more fabric. But yeah, that's how I would do it if you wanted to cut your pieces out with your machine. Gloria, I have not put out instructions or anything. This video here is just to get you excited about the mystery quilt and to give you a preview of what's to come. Next week I'm going to do an introduction video. I will have a print off of how much fabric you need, the exact size of the quilt, and all the good stuff. Lisa, I have many people on my Patreon who join in the quilt retreats, and that's a Zoom, an all-day Zoom, right, where we're just eating and sewing or crocheting, whatever we're doing that day. And several of my members come in with their camera off. We can hear them and we can talk to them, but you don't have to have your camera on. So please feel free to join in the Zooms, even if you want to have your camera off. Alice down the rabbit hole. Think twin size. Deborah, I put a link to the ream of paper that I bought off of Amazon, and I think that was a pricier one. I think you can buy newsprint for cheaper than that, but there is a link down in the description box for that ream of paper, specifically the one that I bought, this one, and that was 12 bucks, 500 sheets. Let me just tell you what they did though. They put, and I'm not saying that they're going to do this for you, but when I opened, it came in a big box, and I was like, this is a big, you know how Amazon will put a tiny little thing in a big box? I was like, this is a big box for one ream of paper. When I opened it up, it was 2 reams of paper. So I actually got 2 500 reams for the price of one. It would cost more to send it back than it would just be to keep it. Bernice has a really good idea. She said we could make templates out of see-through plastic and then draw around them to save fabric. That's a good idea. Bernadette, without the borders are thin. Okay, so there's a very thin border and then like a 4-inch border. So you would take off 5-10 inches if you off the width if you didn't do the borders, and 10 inches off the length. And just to let you know, clue number 1, I'm going to have you cut borders very first thing and just set them aside, because I'm always one who tends to start cutting into my yardage and then hoping I have enough yardage for my borders and I don't have to piece a lot of stuff to make up my borders. I'm going to have you cut your borders and just set them aside. So the rest of your fabric is for piecing the inside of the quilt. Susan said, will you have a pic available of the final quilt design for those who want to know what we're doing versus the mystery? No, ma'am. I'm sorry. I don't like to do that, only because, and I know you wouldn't, but there are some people out there who love to spoil a surprise and will repost that picture somewhere on the internets. And then it'll ruin the surprise for everyone else. Do you know what I'm saying? So in years past with Mystery Quilts, I have had a lot of people follow along and wait until the very end to decide if it's something they're going to want to make. And I've had lots and lots of people make the mystery quilt on their own, and we're off doing something new, and they're just starting the mystery quilt. And I totally get it. A mystery quilt is not everyone's favorite thing. They want to know what they're working on. They want to know what they're investing in. They want to know the time is going to be something that they love, you know, after all the time involved, and I totally get it. I know a mystery quilt is not everybody's favorite thing. Alexis loves the would you rather. You have said that to me so many times. I'm just going to start sending you, Alexis, every day would you rather questions. Y'all remember back when we did the blocks, the traditional quilt blocks during the very first part of COVID? I think we did like 50 some blocks. I forget how many exactly now. And every day we were live, and I would post a would you rather kind of conversation while we're sewing the block. Alexis loved doing that. So yeah, this is totally out of my wheelhouse. Not a stitch of applique on this quilt at all. That's not like me, is it? Let me see if I'm forgetting anything. Now, if I didn't answer your question about the mystery quilt or you have more questions, stay tuned. This video is just to spark some interest, to get you excited. I have had so many people ask if I was going to do a mystery quilt this year. This is it. So stay tuned for more. I'm going to have a video out next week. It'll have a print off for you. And this will be the free project we're doing on my channel for a while. Okay? So if I post a mug rug video, it'll probably be a paid pattern. This will be the free pattern for some time. Darlene said, I am new. How do I get the patterns from you? Everything will be down in the description box when we get started. So if you're on a computer or a phone, you'd have to leave the live chat, right? But next to the title of the video or underneath of the title of the video, you'll see a little caption that says more or show more, something like that. You click on it, it opens the description box, and that's where all the fun stuff is, right? The links, products that I use, a link to Creative Crew on Facebook, a link to my Patreon. If I have anything special to show you, like this week, I think in the description box, I have the link to Marshall Dry Goods. That's where I bought the fabric from. I'm not affiliated with them, but I buy lots of fabric from them. And so I put everything down in that description box. Oh, when will it start? That's a good question, Kim, because I forgot to say. March the 8th. That's a Friday. And March the 8th. That gives us all of February and the first week of March to gather, pull from stashes, or time to order if you wanted to, or go to the quilt store, the fabrics, right? A full month before we get started. And I say that because I ordered my fabrics, which day was it? Tuesday? Monday or Tuesday this week. And I just got an email yesterday that my order went to the cutting table. So I imagine it'll probably be Monday or Tuesday before it ships to me. And then however long that takes. And then I like to make sure I got everything. So yeah. March the 8th is when the fun begins with that. Robin says, the day before my 60th. Happy birthday, Robin. You're turning 60 and I'm turning, my birthday's just like 2 weeks before yours, 50. Happy birthday. All right, I just want to check my notes to make sure I didn't miss anything. Give me a second. Did I tell y'all it's going to be a long project? Paper piecing. I think that's everything about the mystery quilt. What else are we doing today? Yeah, I said that. 21 clues. I said that. Okay, so I can move on to some stuff. Y'all know I'm getting into all the fun stuff about, you know, kind of homesteading kind of stuff, canning stuff. Do you want to see a couple things that I've canned since the last time I showed pictures? Hazel, the email address, if you want to be included in the specific Zoom each week where you're sewing together the pieces for the mystery quilt, you can send me an email to that email address. It's a special email address for the mystery quilt. Joanne, you'll come back on the replay and you'll catch all this stuff, but just know that this is the unofficial talk about the mystery quilt. This is just to spark interest. Next week there will be a full introduction video with a print off, and it's going to be a free quilt while we're making it. So yes, Stay tuned. Okay, so other fun stuff. Let's pull this up. There we go. I canned some more turkey. Doesn't that look delicious? This looks much prettier than the first time we canned turkey, because this time I canned it in water, and the first time I canned it in broth from roasting the turkey. So the jar was much darker, and this time we just saved the broth and continued cooking the broth. But doesn't that look beautiful? Canned turkey. I think we got 6, 7, 8 jars. It was kind of a smaller turkey. I think it was only like 18 pounds or something like that. It might have been smaller than that. I forget now. But we have 18 pints of cooked turkey. It makes the best turkey pot pie or soup. But see how I canned the dark meat and the white meat separately? I plan on making, chicken salad, but instead of chicken, turkey. Doesn't that sound good? We bought a whole bunch of turkeys when turkeys were like 29 cents a pound, and they're in the freezer. So we've been pulling one out and letting it thaw and then roasting it and then canning it up. Yes, turkey pot pie. It is so delicious in a turkey pot pie. What else do we have? I don't know why. Oh, there we go. I was clicking on the wrong buttons. That's all the broth that we got from that turkey. And I didn't count the cans, but those are pints. 1, 2, 3, 4. I think there were like 12, 13, 14, 15 pints of turkey broth from the turkey. Doesn't that look good? Kim, if you look on YouTube, you'll find a million different videos all about it, and that's how I learned. We do have a pressure canner, so we pressure canned both the meat and then the broth. But the broth only takes like 20 minutes, if I remember that right. So the broth is super fast, where the turkey takes like 90 minutes. That's a little more time consuming. So that's the broth from the turkey. Oh, if you follow me on Facebook, you might have already seen this, but okay, so I released my bread making video like 2 weeks ago, right? And then I made bread the next week, and instead of making the cinnamon bread, I said, I wonder what would happen if I made cinnamon rolls with the extra, my bread recipe makes 2 loaves of bread, right? I'm always wanting like a sweet treat. So with the second loaf, instead of making cinnamon bread or putting it away in the freezer for the next week, I made cinnamon sticky pecan rolls with it. I'm going to do a video next week on it. This was using the second bread dough, right? When you proof the dough the first time and then you divide it in half for 2 loaves of bread. I baked 1 loaf as our bread, and I made those sticky buns with the next. They were fabulous. I'm going to make a video on it. They were so good. Those did not last a day. Well, we shared them with my parents, and we shared them with my neighbor, and they were gone. It was so good. I'd never made them before. And it's not like a traditional cinnamon roll, right? Because when I did that, then I started looking up the recipes for cinnamon rolls. And like evidently for cinnamon rolls, you use eggs and milk in your dough. This was just using the extra loaf of bread dough. It was so delicious. Hazel said, how big is your store for all of that canning? Not big, Hazel. I'm so glad you're here, Hazel. It's not big. And actually, in this house, you know, we live in the older section of the house. And when they made this house, like closets were little tiny closets. And there wasn't like a walk-in pantry. Now, a pantry was added, sort of like a butler's pantry was added sometime along the way of this house, right? They closed in a porch and made that into like a butler's pantry. So we have some pantry space, but we're going to have to figure out storage solutions for some of our canning stuff eventually. Hopefully after we harvest stuff from our garden this summer. Yeah, Mary Jo said, be careful with some of the videos you find about the canning, because not everybody follows the rules for canning. I do have to say I left out one of my canning pictures because technically you're not supposed to can this stuff, but I did can some coffee creamer and some milk. It's like a rebel canning thing. I did not share that picture. I don't think I put it in the slideshow. But yeah, you really need to learn the correct way to can and the specific times and pressures and all of that stuff, right? Yeah, you do need to learn that. So yeah, stay tuned for that video, the sticky buns. And there you go. There's this. Okay, so let me just, curtain. As I was planning, and I've been planning the mystery quilt for quite some time, just trying to hone it in, the design. I changed like 12 different layouts till I found one that I really, really loved. So it has taken some time. And as I was approaching getting finished with that design and planning out the clues and stuff, I quickly realized that doing the mystery quilt and making a quilt with my logo to hide the doors, that was too much on top of all my normal work. So I was like, you know what, I'm just going to get some curtains. And that's what I did. They're kind of sheer, like you can see the window in my pantry through it. But it just hides the doors. And so instead of doing a quilt along with my logo, next week we're going to be making this. Not that. Let me find it again. We're going to be making this. That's my logo block with a couple little borders. The logo block itself, the very center, is 12 inches by 12 inches. And if you add the two borders, that gives you, I think, 16 by 16. I think that's it. And this is what we're making next Friday. It will be a pre-recorded video and a free pattern. Kathy, all of my download links will be in the description box, right? You have to click on show more or see more. Depending on which device you're on, it might be next to the title of the video. It might be under. If you're watching on a TV, there's no way to get to the description box from a TV. So you need to pause the video on the TV and jump on your laptop or your tablet or your phone, pull up the video and open up the description box, and that's where the links are. No design wall. I think I've just resolved myself to the fact that there's not going to be a design wall here in this studio. I did, Deborah. I designed the mystery quilt. I think you must have just came in just shortly. Come back on the replay because I talk all about it. Not officially. Next week there will be an introduction video, an official announcement, and a print off for your fabric requirements and stuff. But yeah, she's a pretty quilt. And then, what else do I have here? I forgot. Oh, the week after that, we're going to be making this shamrock mug rug. This pattern, y'all, will not be a free pattern. It's a mug rug pattern. It'll be in my Etsy shop when I release this video, right? Patreon members, this is your February free pattern, right? So, and that's paper piecing. Super easy. I've been really digging the paper piecing stuff. Gail says, I don't do mystery quilts, but this sounds interesting, so I guess I will try this one. Aw, Gail, I think you're going to love it. I don't want to show you the picture of it. I'm looking at it. It is a beautiful quilt. If you chose patriotic colors, and I don't care if you're just here in the States, whatever country you're in, if you chose your patriotic colors for wherever you live, and you swap them out, instead of using the colors I'm using for patriotic colors, it would be amazing. I almost went with a patriotic colorway. But then I kept playing around and I played with these colors and I was like, oh, I've got to have this. So, but yeah, if you chose a patriotic colorway, that would be great. Oh no, Melissa said I just did 2 mystery quilts and I wasn't happy with either out. Oh no. I always love yours though, Lisa. Thank you. I think you're going to love this quilt. Now I might be partial because I've stared at it for like, countless hours. And I might be partial. But if you love stars, you're going to love this quilt. Becky, absolutely. You could do it in Scrappy. Pick 4 colors. I mean, I'm going to keep it really simple. 4 colors. But then go Scrappy with those, right? Scrappy. And so that's all in that slideshow. And then a lot of y'all asked me for chicken updates. So to close out today, I have a chicken update. What was I gonna say? Chicken update. Oh yeah. I get so distracted. All these windows, and if I just see a dog running down the street, I'm like, oh, no wonder it takes me so long to get stuff done during the day, because I'm just like, ooh, who is that? Ooh, look at that bird. Chicken update. Y'all, look what we did. I think we have spent a small fortune on chicken stuff. The chickens got a new coop the other day. Do you see that on the screen? They got a new coop. Donna says, how can I become a Patreon? Is there a link somewhere? Down in the description box. You got your scan and cut, Donna. That is so exciting. I'm so happy for you. There is a link down in the description box that brings you over to my Patreon page. And the cool thing about Patreon is that you could do it on a month-to-month basis if you wanted to, right? You could join for February and then cancel it in March, right? It's that kind of commitment, right? But yeah, there's a link down in the description box. Mimsy says, what color would you use for a patriotic quilt background? I'm partial to the cream colored background. a light cream, or even I'm really digging like the homespun colors, like a darker cream. And then you could do like a burgundy and a navy blue. That would be gorgeous. And a dark brown. Or a black. I played with that. A black would look really nice. They do have luxury housing. They had a coop where they slept, right? But it was much smaller. And we have an incubator. We're going to try to hatch some little baby chickens coming up shortly. So yeah, they got a bigger coop. Faye, that is some garlic that's sitting there. That's the little coop for the little babies. It's just sitting there. I don't know what Harlan is doing with it. He put an onion there. Do you see the little sprouts growing from the onion? I don't know what he's doing with that. And that really tore up the yard because our ground is so soggy. Oh. There we go. That's the inside of the coop. They have some roosting bars, some nesting boxes for their eggs. We're up to 6 eggs a day. And they're still doing it even though it's been cold weather. There was one day when we only had 2 eggs. Like 4 of them took a break one day. Yeah, Heather, I don't know what he's doing. Maybe curing them. I don't know, but they are cured. They are dried up like little rocks. But isn't that so nice? Like, how wonderful is that for our chickens? You should have seen them walking in and like looking all around. Like, they were so excited. This is our baby. Do y'all remember, well, it's been several weeks now. I showed the little video and she was like this big. Look how big she is. She is getting so big. Hazel, it does kind of look like what my studio looked like when I first started doing YouTube videos. It absolutely does. That's what it looked like. Except Harlan didn't build that. He built my studio at that house. But, oh yeah, we love the automatic door. Melissa, I'll have to tell him about that. Right now we just have hay down, but I kind of feel like that's going to be messy. Here's 2 more of our babies. The one on the right, that's Beulah. And she is a person. She's the only one in all of our 13 chickens. She does not want to be a chicken. She wants us to hold her all the time. When we let the chickens out to like free range and stuff, she will not go with them. She will walk around with Harlan, or she'll walk around with me. She really just wants you to pick her up and hold her. She's the one who's squatting down on the right. That's Beulah. And then one more, just because she just wanted her picture taken, but isn't she so cute? So we have 2 roosters. You know, Rudy was our first chicken, and he was actually our neighbor's chicken. And he would wander over here, which he has a long walk to get over here from our neighbor's house. But he would come over to our yard all day long. And then he would walk back at night, right? When the sun started to go down, he would leave. And we eventually watched him and we figured out whose chicken it was. He was our first chicken because we talked to them and they gave him to us because they had another rooster that was sort of like in charge over there. So we just adopted Rudy. And then that led us to get more chickens. Well, you'll see the gray one, the taller one and the gray one. That's our second rooster. And we raised him from a baby. But look how big he is now. And they get along so far. But they certainly have their own like group of women chickens, hens, that like some prefer Rudy and some prefer Braveheart. And when they're free roaming, a group will go with each one of them. Isn't that so cute? Anitra said Beulah is a hippie chick. She is. Lisa, I love canning. Like, we have really just gotten into it. I think that's it for my slideshows, y'all. That's it. And I think that's everything that I was going to talk about, too. I think that's everything. Y'all, it is, I know you can't probably tell from the video, but it's gloomy outside. If I didn't know better, looking at the sky out that way, it looks like snow. I don't think they're calling for snow, but that's what it looks like. It's certainly not cold enough for snow, even though it's chilly. That looks like a snow sky out there. And my tea has gotten cold. Let me put it on a little warmer for after the live. I want to thank my moderators today. Thank y'all so much for hanging out and keeping an eye on the chat. I always appreciate y'all so much. I know several of y'all that are watching along have not been feeling very well. I hope you feel better. Nothing stinks more than not feeling good, right? I hope you feel so much better. Keep an eye out. Next week is going to be a busy week on Lisa Capen Quilts YouTube channel. I'm going to do a introduction video for the mystery quilt, right? With a download of your fabric requirements and the precise size of this quilt. I wish I had the time to break it down into different sizes for y'all. I just don't. And I wish I did, but I don't. I'm so sorry. But I will have a specific size for the quilt that we're making. And then when I make bread, I'm going to make some pecan sticky rolls, and I'm going to make a video for that using the same bread recipe that I shared like 2 weeks ago. And what else? Oh, next Friday, we're making my logo block into like a little centerpiece for a table or a wall quilt, right? Lots of stuff for next week. I'm going to be so busy. So yeah, again, I totally know this. Like, I figured this out the first time we did a mystery quilt. I figured it out. Like, half of the people that watch my videos absolutely love a mystery quilt. And then half of them don't. And I totally understand both sides, right? Your fabric is not cheap. And do you know what I did? I ordered fabric to make my logo block into a quilt that measures 73 inches by 73 inches. That was $82, something like that. And it came in the other day. Beautiful fabric, but not the colors I wanted to use for the mystery quilt. So now I have all of that fabric, and I'm not going to be making that quilt. So I totally know, especially in today's like economics, right? When we're watching all of the spending that we're doing. And I totally get that. Like, I'm included. Making a quilt without knowing what it's going to look like is a scary investment, isn't it? I get that. So for those of you who are kind of interested, but you don't like the fact that it's a mystery, watch the videos, okay? Because each week, I'm going to show you the clue, I'm going to show you how to make the clue, and I'm going to show you a screenshot of what the quilt looks like, only revealing that clue and everything before it. So the first week is going to look empty. You're going to see the borders, and you're going to see the first clue, where the first clue goes. And that's it. Week number 2, you'll see the borders and the fabric swatches for week 1 with the week number 2 added. So it's going to reveal itself as we're going along. For those of you who want to see what it looks like, you might get peaked by like week 3 or 4. So watch along, okay? Because I'm going to reveal it as we're going along instead of waiting to the very end. All right? Melissa, I remember when you made that quilt. I remember seeing it in your videos. All right, everybody. I hope you have a fantastic weekend. What am I doing this afternoon? I am a teaser, Hazel. I'm also a huge enabler. But I try not to be, but I am. But I'm more of like, let's do things on a budget. Like, I've always been budget minded, right? What was I doing this afternoon? Oh, I totally forgot. I think I'm going to work on some sublimation stuff. And tomorrow I'm quilting a quilt for Vicky. So I don't know if you're here, Vicky, or not, but yeah, I'm going to get your quilt loaded on the frame. That's what I'm doing. I hope y'all have a fantastic weekend. If you haven't yet already, you might want to subscribe. I've got lots of stuff coming out next week, and you don't want to miss it, right? So go ahead and subscribe. You'll get notified, especially, okay, so when you hit subscribe, there's like a little bell icon next to it. If you click on that bell, it gives you like 4 different options. If you choose all, it is supposed to notify you every time I post a new video or go live or do a premiere. All the stuff is supposed to let you know. Now, it doesn't always do that. I don't know why. But it's supposed to. So yeah, next week you'll be seeing lots of me. Deborah, you need to order some stuff from me. Okay, the fastest way that you can send me a message and we can chat about it is jump over to Etsy. Excuse me. And send me a message on Etsy, because then I get dinged on my phone, right? And I know when your message comes in, it dings my phone. So then I can jump on and hopefully get your questions answered. Bye, everybody. I hope you have a fantastic week. And stay warm, feel better, and just know that I'm always thinking about you. And if the mystery quilt is not for you, I totally get it. I hope you still follow along with me, though. Okay? Bye, everybody. I will see you next week.